Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it happens to be for all of you who are checking out this video. It might be live for some of you, maybe on replay. For others of you, let me get my pinned comment in here, and we're going to get started in a minute. Hope everybody's having a great day, great week, great month, great year. Whenever you happen to be catching this, my stuff is evergreen and universal, so you might be watching this like 3 years after I put it out. So whenever you're watching this, hope everything's going good for you. But I'm going to make it better through what we about to talk about. We got about 30 minutes here. So I'm going to give people a minute to get in and get settled, get organized, and then we're going to get started. Let me make sure my comment gets pinned here. So we are good to go. And I'm going to get started in about 60 seconds. Alright, Instagram says they are telling my followers that I have started a live video. Let me put in some notes here. Alright, I hope everybody's having a good day thus far. I'm going to get started, and people will come in when they come in. Is usually how it goes. People start coming in after I start talking. I don't know why it goes like this. I wish people would just come in from the beginning and we'd be good. But the game is the game. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. From a 9-year professional athlete, I'm the author of 31 books. I'm the creator of this whole brand and business framework called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the mindset, skills, tools, strategies of a pro athlete and applying those tools at work and in everyday life based on mindset, strategy, accountability, and execution. So what I want to talk about here today is I want to talk about how to work smarter and not harder. This is a topic that a lot of people probably think they understand. You know, whenever I talk about this, or whenever I talk about something around the concepts of using strategies or using frameworks, or make sure you have accurate formulas. If any of you read my articles, you probably see me talking about this stuff all the time. When people hear me talking about this, often somebody will come in with a comment or they'll respond. They'll say, "Oh, Dre, I get what you're saying. You're talking about working smarter and not harder." And a lot of people say that, and everybody has heard it before. It's one of those cliches that people like to repeat, like quality over quantity. And no, there's a lot of cliches out there that people like to repeat because they've heard them before. But many people who have heard these cliches don't even know how to apply them in their own lives, how to apply them in their businesses. So that's what I want to talk about here today. How do you actually use the concept of working smarter, not harder? Not just can you repeat it and do you know it, but can you actually apply it and make it work in your life and in your business? That's the topic here today. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, then let's get into it. Because the first thing that actually got me thinking about this was, I remember when I was reading Tim Grover's book. He has 2 books. Tim Grover's Michael Jordan's old trainer, Kobe's trainer. Dwayne Wade's also. He wrote a couple books basically that are around the concept of basically around mindset and mental toughness and just personal growth from a very, very super masculine perspective. I guess the way you could describe Tim Grover's work. He basically took Michael Jordan's mindset and wrote a couple books about it, which is fine. Or him and his co-author wrote books about it. I've heard Tim Grover speak, and let's just say he had a co-author. I've heard him talk, and his language when he speaks doesn't match the language of those books, but I'm an author, so I know that. But anyway, that's besides the point. His name is on the book. He gets credit for the book. And one of the things that he said in the book was Kobe Bryant he said Michael Jordan worked smarter than Kobe Bryant. Because he said Kobe, would always want to do more and more and more. Kobe was always trying to do more work, more workouts, put more time in. Whereas Michael Jordan, on the other hand, was okay with, all right, we're going to do this much today and we can stop and we can go away and we don't need to do anything extra. But Kobe was always trying to do extra, more and more. So Tim had to kind of like fight with Kobe and train him, condition Kobe to know when to stop working harder. And hey, let's think about working smarter here in this situation. Know when enough is enough. And this is a thing that in our society, just yesterday, I was doing a speaking gig yesterday in Orlando, and somebody asked about this very thing. And this is one of the things that I was talking about, not necessarily this exact concept, but in Western society, especially in the United States and North America, we have this whole ethos around working harder. You know, a lot of people, it's funny because everybody knows the saying, work smarter, not harder, right? But what do we actually do? See, it's one thing to be able to repeat cliches. It's another thing when you look at your life and look at your actions. Most of us who live in Western society, those of you who have been raised in Western society, how do we spend most of our days? Work, work, work. We're always trying to do more work, harder work, put in more time, and we use this as a badge of honor. It's like a badge of honor if you worked harder than the other person. If you work 60 hours a week, that's like a big deal, right? You working 60 hours a week is proof that you're serious about your grind and serious about your game and serious about where you want to go. I remember the brother Kevin Samuels, who just passed away a couple weeks ago. I was watching one of his older, or listening to one of his older videos where he used to talk to men before he started talking to women. And one of the things that he said in his video, I heard him say it more than once, was, look, if you're a man and you're not where you want to be professionally right now, or you're not making this much money, you should be working 60 to 80 hours a week. And if you're not, you're lazy. All right, that's the ethos that we have in America and in the Western world, is that if you don't have all the stuff that you want in life, all that means, the solution to the problem is you just need to be putting in more time, more work, work harder, grind harder. So even though everybody likes to repeat this work smarter, not harder phrase, what do we actually do? What we actually do is work harder. Even though we say work smarter, not harder, most of us don't do it. How many of you is okay with working 4 hours a day and just saying, you know what, I got everything done I need to get done today, I'm good? Most of you wouldn't do it. Most of you are not emotionally prepared to do that. And when I say emotionally, what I mean is, if you were to work 4 hours in a day and you got everything done you needed to get done, what would most of you do? What most of you would do is look at, all right, what do I need to get done tomorrow? Let me get started on that right now so I can fill the other 4 hours of the day, because we all are conditioned that we need to put in at least 8 hours a day. 8 times 5, that's 40 hours a week. And if you're not where you want to be, then you need to be doing even more than that. You might need to do 10 hours a day, and then another 10 on Saturday, another 10 on Sunday. That gives you 70 hours for the week. Most of us measure our efforts, or we measure our efforts, and we measure how much work we're doing based on how much time we spend. We don't base it on results. We base it on how much time we spend. If you're making $150,000 a year, working 4 hours a day, you know what you're going to do? You're going to work 8 hours a day and see if you could turn that 150 into 300. That's what most people do. And especially in the Western world, even though all of us, again, like to throw out this whole thing, work smarter, not harder, and most of you ain't even doing it. And secondly, you couldn't even explain what it means to another person. Third, you're not even an example of it yourself. So let me get into this and help all of you get clear on what this actually means and how to actually do it. Working smarter, not harder. And if anybody got a question, I will just post it in the comments. I'll address it at the end of this live. I got 3 points I want to go through, and we'll get done by 12:50. So we got about 20 minutes. Number one, first of all, you got to set your standard. You got to create your system, and you have to trust your system. This is all 3 things in 1 point. Set your standards. That means, what are the goals and the outcomes that I'm looking to achieve? That's the first thing you got to get clear on. If you don't know what you're trying to achieve, it doesn't matter how much time you spend working or how little time you spend working or what you achieve, because you don't know what you're going after. If you have no target, then it doesn't matter what you hit. Right? If you don't have a target to shoot at, you can fire a bunch of shots. It doesn't matter what you hit. We can't say whether it was good or bad because we don't know what we're going for. So set a clear target, your standards, create a system. Either create a system or get access to a system or obtain a system. So your system doesn't have to be something that you came up with on your own. So those of you who don't have a system, you don't have to make it up by yourself. Go get yourself a coach. Go sign up for a course. Go read some books. Go to the library. Get on Amazon. Get the information and get a system that you can use that will help you get to the outcome that you want to get to. And understand that just because you have a system doesn't mean tomorrow you're going to wake up and have all the success. You have to apply the system. You have to actually do what the system is telling you to do. So number one, have the standard. Number two, get a system that will help you achieve the outcome. Now, how do you know what system is going to help you get to your outcome? You go find the person or the people or the organization that has already achieved the outcome that you want, and then get into whatever they're offering, and then whatever they say, do it. That's how you get a system. Anybody need me to repeat that? Or is that simple enough for everybody to understand? Identify a person or an organization who has already achieved the outcome you want, get into their program, and whatever they tell you to do, do it. We call this being coachable. Many people, again, in Western society, especially these days, because we all have access to social media, so because we have access to so much information, we all think that we're smart, even though we have access to the information, but You're not, just because you have access to all the information on Google doesn't mean you have the information. It's two different things. I'm going to repeat that again. Miss Mack asked me to repeat it. Find someone or a group, an entity that has already achieved the outcome that you want to achieve. Then find out what is their program or system that allowed them to create that outcome. Get yourself into that program, and then whatever the program tells you to do, do it. Again, this is called being coachable. I'll give you an example, a very simple example. Any of you ever been to a gym, a personal trainer, any kind of trainer in physical activity, whether it's a sports specific trainer, just a regular personal trainer, somebody comes to your house, helps you work out, you and somebody's program on YouTube or some app or something like that. What is it? That trainer has given you some reason to believe that they can help you lose 20 pounds, or they can help you get nice abs, or if it's a girl, help you get nice thighs and a nice butt, whatever it's going to be, lose weight by the summertime, whatever it's going to be. They showed you, for whatever reason you believe they can help you get to your outcome, right? So then what do? You sign up for their app, you hire them as a trainer, you get into their boot camp class, whatever it's going to be, you sign up for their thing, you get on their course, their program, whatever. Now here's the part that most people are incapable of doing. Most people are capable of finding the person. Most of you are capable of signing up for stuff as long as you can afford to pay for it. Here's the part most people don't do. Do whatever the program tells you to do. Many people are simply uncoachable. Why? Because a lot of people think they are too smart to follow what somebody else is telling them to do. A lot of people don't have discipline to actually follow through and do what they're being told to do. And people just don't have that stick-to-itiveness. It's easy to do stuff at the beginning. At the beginning of something, everybody's all excited on the first day. Second day, you lose a little bit of enthusiasm. But by that third day, things change. By that third day, it's hard to keep showing up. By that third day, it's hard to keep following the program. Why? Because now you realize, oh, this is not all fun and games. This is not all one big party. This is actually hard work. I actually have to show up and be disciplined and be persistent, and I have to have some grit and some mental toughness to get through this. That's the third day. And this is why most people don't actually get results, because they don't make it past the third day. Anybody can sign up for something. Signing up is the easy part. That's the fun part. Showing up at the beginning, that's easy. But following through and actually doing the work all the way through, most people don't do that. And that's why most people, even though most people are relatively smart, most of you, y'all have access to information. Most of you, compared to the average person on the planet, lives in luxury. All right, it's the middle of the day. It's 12:30 p.m. Eastern on a Wednesday when I'm recording this. You're on the internet watching somebody talk on a live stream. All right, you have access to information, to more information than people 2-3 generations before you ever had access to in their entire lives. You got access to all of it right now at your fingertips. And most people still don't get the results that they want. It ain't information that's holding you back. It is a lack of discipline. And many people are simply uncoachable, so they don't follow through on stuff. They get started, but they don't finish it out. So the number one thing you do in order to work smarter and not harder is you got to follow a process. If you don't have a process, then you need to go find someone who has a process and follow their process. You do not need to create everything by yourself. You don't need to be this genius doing everything on your own. Get access, get the information from another person. Why would you need to figure it all out by yourself if you could get it from somebody else? Again, the whole concept is working smarter, not harder. Now you can work smarter. Stop trying to figure everything out by yourself and just get the information from a person who already got it. Why not do that? Why not just get the information from someone who already has it? That's what working smarter means. This is why the coaching industry exists. This is why trainers exist. This is why conferences exist. This is why people get mentors. This is why people getting courses. This is why people write books, because you can get the information. Think about when somebody writes a book. They might had to have lived 15 years of life and gone through a whole bunch of trial and error and experiences to learn enough to write what they wrote in the book. But it's not like they wrote 15 years worth of a book, because if you had to read a whole book about 15 years of somebody's life, that's a pretty big book, right? That'll take you a long time to read it. What an author does is they take their 15 years of life experience, they condense it down to just the most essential parts of that 15 years, and you can read the whole book in 45 minutes, depending on how fast you read. Maybe it'll take you a week, maybe it'll take you a month if you read slow. So you take 15 years of somebody's life and you can get it all, at least the most important parts, in a month. All right, that's a wise investment. 30 days of your time to get 15 years of knowledge, the most important stuff. This is what smart people do every single day. And the whole concept is working smarter, not harder. So whatever the process is, and here's the part that challenges people. So you go get the book, right? So you just know that it took me 15 years of living life, let's say, for example, to write this book, and you can get all the most important information in 30 days if you read slow. Now, here's the thing. Inside of this book, I'm going to tell you to do some things that may go against the grain of what you think you should be doing. And that's where we find out if you're coachable or not. Many people are, again, simply uncoachable. They will join a coaching program, and then the coach says, do this. And they say, well, I didn't think that's what I was going to need to do. Well, damn it, that's why you're in the coaching program. Because if you knew what to do, you wouldn't need a coach, would you? You would be the one giving the coaching instead of being the one getting it. And many people are just not humble enough to accept this. And understand, every good coach has coaches. Right? Everybody gets it the same way that they give. You can't give what you don't have. And if you're constantly pouring out to other people, you got to be pouring into yourself from a different source. But many people just simply aren't coachable. They don't listen. So therefore, they can't follow a process. They try to work harder instead of working smarter. They're on the path of working smart, but then when they get a chance to do something smart, they do something stupid, and then they end up shooting themselves in the foot, and they don't get the outcome that they want. So if you're in whatever system you join, whatever process you're in, I talked about trusting the process in episode 616 of my podcast, by the way. It's called Work on Your Game Podcast. I'll put a link to that right here. So any of you who didn't know that I have a podcast, it is workonyourgamepodcast.com. That's the link to my podcast. You get the link to all the apps, Spotify, Apple, all that stuff right there. If you're in a training program and your trainer says do 100 push-ups, then do 100 push-ups. If the trainer says run 3 miles, run 3 miles. If the trainer says, all right, delete all the stuff you got on your website, delete all the stuff you have on your website. Just follow whatever the program says. If you don't trust the program, don't join the program. But if you get into a coaching program, you got to go all the way in. You can't do it halfway. So many people get into something and they want to do it, but they only want to do it up to the point that it's comfortable for them and it's within their comfort zone. But we all know the concept of the comfort zone, right? If everything that you needed to do to be successful was within your comfort zone, you would already be successful. Or you would already have the success that you want or the outcomes that you want. So in order for you to get the things that you want in life, you're probably going to have to do some things that are uncomfortable for you. Many people lack the discipline to do this, and this is what stops them from getting success. This is where they start trying to work hard instead of working smart. And when you avoid working smart, you end up doing stupid things and it hurts your success. Point number 2. We are talking today about working smarter, not harder, a thing that everybody has heard of, but very few people really understand. Second thing you got to do is get smart professionals around you and simply listen to them. This is what good business people do all the time. They get people around them who are smarter than them in particular areas, and they allow the smart people to do smart things. They allow those people to do what they do because those people know better than they do. For example, it was Henry Ford who started the Ford Motor Company. He basically brought the motor vehicle to the United States of America. So the reason we have cars in America is because of Henry Ford. He didn't invent the car, but he brought it to America. And one time somebody put him on trial. I don't know how they got him to show up to this trial, but he was on trial because some people were trying to prove that, hey, Henry Ford is not that smart. He basically had haters way back before social media was out. And at some point during the trial that Henry Ford was on, Henry Ford said, look, I don't need to fill my head with a whole bunch of useless information that you all think makes you quote unquote smart, because I got a desk in my office and there's a bunch of buttons on the desk, and anytime I need to get any kind of information, all I got to do is push one of these buttons. If I need a math question answered, I don't need to figure it out. I push the button and my math guy comes in the room and he answers the question. If I got a tax question, my tax guy can answer it. If I got a manufacturing question, my manufacturing guy can answer it. Any question that I need answered that I can't answer, I got smart people around me who work for me that I tell them to answer the question, they will answer it for me. So he was borrowing the knowledge of other people. You have more access to more information today than Henry Ford ever had access to. So my question is, why would you, with more access to information than anyone in generations before you, why are you still trying to outwork your ignorance? This is what people do. Ignorance just means not to know. Ignorance doesn't mean you're a bad person. Being ignorant, literally, the definition means to not know something. So if you don't know something, you don't have to outwork your lack of knowledge. What you need to do is go find a person who already has the knowledge and borrow their information. Then you can help them where they need help. They help you where you need help. And now you have a mastermind. Now everybody is working off of each other. We call this synergy. All right, who's the guy that talked about this? 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. What's that guy's name? Stephen Covey. So this is what you need to be doing. You don't need to get all the information yourself. All this information is already available. Anything that you're having challenges with in your life, somebody has already solved that problem. All you got to do is access the information and, again, follow what they say. Don't try to do it all by yourself. If you find yourself constantly overruling people who are supposed to be helping you, in other words, somebody gives you some information, hey, we need to do it this way, but you're saying, well, I'm not comfortable with that, or I don't want to do it that way, or I don't like that, so I don't want to do it. I'm going to overrule that person. Why do you even have them in the room? Don't bring somebody into your world to help you if when they offer you help, you're going to reject it because you're just not comfortable with it or is not fitting what you're used to or what you are thinking about doing. You got to be willing to give up a little bit of yourself to step out of that comfort zone. Point number 3, we're talking today about working smarter, not harder, the right way. Number 3, you got to identify the right levers. What this means is creating leverage for yourself. A lever or a lever, however you say it, comes from the word leverage, or it's the root of the word leverage. What does leverage mean? Leverage means when you can put in a little bit of effort, but you get this much impact. You put in 2% effort, you get 20% impact. That's leverage. That's what leverage means. So when you're working in the average way, you put in 1 unit of work, you get 1 unit of results. When you're working with leverage, you put in 1 unit of work, you get 2 or more units of results. In other words, your efforts are multiplying. That's what it means to identify the right lever. So if you're running a business, you got to identify what lever is going to help your business get to where it needs to go. Many entrepreneurs, for example here, they identify the wrong levers, or they don't even take time to identify a lever, or even if they try to, they are inaccurate. They're wrong when they try to identify a lever, but they don't know what they're doing. So they try to figure it out on their own. Again, this is working harder instead of working smarter. Instead of getting information from someone who knows what they're doing, and they go work harder on the wrong thing, then they put in all this extra time, don't get a result, and then they say, well, I put in all this extra work and it didn't work for me. No, everything works for everybody. It's just that you worked on the wrong thing. Many people come up short in life not because they're not doing the right work or because anything personally wrong with you, is because you are getting the right answers to the wrong questions. You are asking yourself the wrong questions, and that's why even when you answer them, you still don't get the outcomes that you want. So if you run a business, for example, and you decide, oh, this is what we're going to do in our business, we're going to write more blog posts, and we're going to get better at writing blog posts and articles, but the thing that's really going to help your business is not writing more blog posts. The thing that's going to help your business is you need to get better at who you're targeting with your advertising. So you go write all those blog posts, right? And you think your blog posts are fire. These are the best articles you ever wrote in your life, but you're answering the wrong question. You can write more blog posts and they all can be amazing, but then you look at your results and nothing changes. You're going to think, all right, well, I guess writing blog posts is a bad idea. So then you stop writing blog posts, and that hurts your business. And the problem was you identified the wrong issue from the beginning. So now you're fixing things that weren't even broken because you identified the wrong problem. You misidentified the situation. You identified the wrong lever. In other words, you're working off of an inaccurate formula. This is what a lot of people do all of their lives. They fix the wrong problem, or they do nothing at all, don't identify the right problem, or somebody tells them what the right problem is, but that problem makes them uncomfortable to address, so they don't address that. They address something that they're comfortable with, and then they end up not getting a result, and then they craft a story in their mind. They rationalize and say, well, this thing didn't work for me, or I'm not getting the results that I want, or I'm not as lucky as this person, or I'm not as smart as this person, or I'm just not working hard enough, or I got to put in more time, or I got to focus on myself, or I got to work on myself, or any of those BS phrases that people like to use to make it sound like they're doing something when they're actually doing nothing. Many people do this their entire lives, and nobody ever talks sense into them to help them understand what's actually slowing them down. Many of you are identifying the wrong problem. Not because there's anything wrong with you, it's because you are trying to do it all by yourself. You are not smart or genius in every subject. Neither am I. You had to be smart enough to know where are you good and where are you not. Where are you a fish in the water and where are you a fish out of the water? Okay? Everybody knows what I mean by that? All right. A fish is an expert in the water, but is not an expert on the sand. So you got to know where are you a fish in water, meaning you can handle this yourself because you know what you're doing. And where are you a fish on the sand, meaning you don't know what you're doing. You should probably go get some help from somebody who knows something. And a lot of this information you can find within a quick search on the internet. But then when you search and you find some information, you got to be willing to follow what that information tells you, even if it makes you uncomfortable. Many people are not comfortable with being uncomfortable. Again, that's another cliche right there. Another cliche. There's so many cliches out here that people like to repeat over and over again, yet you're not even following the cliche. People say work smarter, not harder. You're not doing it. People say quality over quantity. You're not doing it. People say, what was that one that I just said? Get comfortable being uncomfortable. You're not doing it. So people like to repeat these phrases and ain't even living the stuff that they're talking about. So you got to make sure, like, it's cool to know the phrases and you read the books and you know where somebody's quote came from, but are you actually doing any of the stuff that you're talking about? This is a real talk conversation you need to have with yourself. It ain't about me. It's a conversation you got to have with yourself. So let me recap these points, these 3 points. If you got a question about the subject or a comment, go ahead and post it in the comment section. I'm going to address them all right now, if there are any. Topic is working smarter, not harder, the real way, not just repeating the cliche. Number 1, set your standards, create your systems or identify a system, and trust the process. Whatever the process is, you have to actually follow the process. You can't just do what you want to do when you're in the process. If you hire a personal trainer, do what the trainer tells you. You hate doing burpees, but the trainer tells you to do burpees. Listen, if you don't want to do burpees, don't hire a trainer. But if you hire the trainer, whatever they tell you to do, you do it. Any of you ever watched the TV show The Prophet on CNBC? When Marcus Lemonis, when he writes that check to a business to save them from going out of business, he tells them when he hands them the check, look, if you take this money, I'm in charge. Everything I say we're going to do, we're going to do. If you're uncomfortable with it, if you don't like it, if you are not feeling it, it don't matter. You take my money, I'm the boss now, and I'm going to tell you how it's going to go. If you're not willing to accept that, then don't step into a process. But if you don't step into a process, you're never going to solve your problem. This is how you step outside of your comfort zone. Many people are uncomfortable doing that. That's why they never change. And number 2, get smart professionals around you and listen to them. Find people who already know how to get the outcome. Let them tell you how it's done, or let them do it themselves, and get the hell out of the way. Many of you are uncomfortable doing that. You just want to do things your way, even if doing things your way got you to a failing position in the first place. You're in a position where you're not getting what you want because you did it all yourself, yet you still insist on doing everything yourself. All right, does that make any sense? Of course not, but a lot of human beings do things that don't make sense. And number 3, identify the right levers. All right, lever is the root word of leverage. What is leverage? When you put in 1 unit of work, you get 10 units of result. In other words, you are getting more out than what you put in. This is a good investment when you have leverage. So you got to figure out what is going to create the leverage in your business. You might be working on doing one thing when the actual problem is something different. I was talking to this woman. She was being coached by me some time ago, and she was saying, well, Dre, I need to do more posts on Instagram. I said, why? She said, because I see other people in my space, they do all these posts on Instagram, and they got all these followers, so I figure I need to do that too. And I said, well, looking at your business, the actual problem in your business is not that you need to do more posts on Instagram. The problem is you don't even know who you're serving. Therefore, whatever you post on Instagram is not targeted towards the person who you want to serve. So it doesn't matter if you post more if you don't know who you're posting to. And they listened, they heard me, but they didn't really listen. And they didn't really follow what I said. So, I mean, their business is going to continue to struggle because they're identifying the wrong problem. Many of you are solving the wrong problem. You're getting answers to the wrong questions. So even if you have the right answer, it's not going to get you where you want to go because you're not identifying the right issue. So these are the 3 things that you need to do in order to work smarter, not harder. If anybody got a question, you can go ahead and post in the comment section. I don't know if anybody has one. If you got a question that's related to the topic, go ahead and post it. I will address. Arvin, what's going on? You quoted the Mirror Motivation. Shout out to everybody who has the Mirror Motivation. Get that at mirrorofmotivation.com. You all might have seen my ads on IG, so get those if you get that book if you don't have it already. What's going on? Glam Dolls Beauty Studios. The topic here today was working smarter, not harder. Question is, do you think reading fast matters? I saw courses about increasing reading speed, but wasn't sure if it matters. Well, increasing reading speed will save you time. So and if it takes you 30 minutes to read an article, now you can do it in 15. Now you just bought yourself an extra 15 minutes. The challenge with increasing your reading speed is the comprehension. Is what you want to make sure that you can increase your speed, but also the comprehension at the same time so that you actually can absorb what you're reading, even though you're doing it faster. So is your comprehension speed is actually what you need to improve, not the reading speed. Like how fast can you actually comprehend what you're taking in? That's the part that you need. So if there's a reading course that can help you with that part, then that's the one you want to look into. So if you're an entrepreneur, you got to go do them. Well, yeah, you gotta have people around you who can tell you things that you can't see yourself. And none of us needs to be an expert on everything. We just got to be an expert on our stuff, on the things that we're experts on. It's not everything. Glam Dolls Beauty Studio says, I'm a life coach. I don't call myself a life coach. I'm a strategy coach. Strategy, accountability, execution coach is what I would call myself. But those are part of life. So I guess you call it that. But then you call a business coach life. A personal trainer could be life coach. I mean, everything's part of life. I mean, I don't think there's such thing as a death coach. So Glam Dolls, why do you ask that question? Most of the people who I work with in coaching, though, while I wait on your answer, if there is one, are people who are looking for professional growth. They're looking for growth in their professions. So business, entrepreneurship, some people who are working in companies, some people who have jobs, some people who are running their own business, or they're trying to start their own business. Those are usually the people I'm working with. So I wouldn't just say life coach. Life coach could just be like I don't even know who I would call a life coach. Most people there are people who call themselves life coaches, but I'm not one of them. So the question is, I gotta be careful separating from being lazy, working smart. Sometimes I won't push myself, make an excuse to say I'm working smarter. Yeah, that's why you got to get the right people around you. Arvin, what you said right there, that makes sense. And that goes to what I was talking about earlier, is that we've all been conditioned that if we're not working, then we're being lazy. Which sometimes is true, sometimes it's not. And that's why you got to get people around you who can see what you can't see. Yes, this is a protein shake. I just came back in town off a flight today, so I didn't have it earlier like I usually do. Glam, so I'm looking for someone that can coach me in my business. Well, hit me up. You can send me a text message or a DM, or you can email me, or you can go to that link, workonyourgameuniversity.com, and my text number is on my IG. We're on IG on my bio, so you can text me there, or you can send me an email, or you can send me a DM. I'm easy to contact. I make myself very easy to find. So, question is, do I ever use Reddit? Not really. I don't know if I have an account, but I have the app, but I don't really read on it that much. I'm usually producing. I don't do that much consuming on the internet. If I'm consuming, I'm usually consuming something passively while I'm still working. So, I got a call coming up in a minute, so we are going to wrap this up. Everybody, a couple things. If you want to get my daily motivation text message, you should text me at... Let me put my number right here. You want to get my daily motivation text, or you want to text me directly, text me at that number right there, 305-384-6894. Coaching is workonyourgameuniversity.com. My podcast is called Work on Your Game Podcast Masterclass. It's actually a masterclass, but I call it a podcast so I don't confuse many of you. It's on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud. Yesterday's episode, or yesterday alone of all the episodes, but in the back episodes, yesterday we did 14,000 downloads yesterday. So far this year, we're at almost 1 million downloads just so far this year. Let me tell you where we at so far this year. I think somebody just posted a question. I'll address that before we wrap it up. So far in 2022, we're at 876,000 downloads. Last year we did 1 million, over 1 million. So far this year, we're at 876,000, and it's only May. So we are on track right now to get to 2 million downloads this year. That's Work on Your Game podcast. Look that up. It's an everyday show. Nobody can do the show. Nobody can put out a show every day like I do. Nobody does. Nobody can and nobody does. So look that show up. That's the best place to really get my deepest stuff, is on my podcast. That's my best platform right now, is the podcast. Question is, I want my business to evolve, but feel like I need to be around people that can help me improve it more. Well, you're right. That feeling, you can translate that feeling to a thought, because that's actually a smart thing, that you do need people around you who can help you evolve it, whether it's me or anybody else. But Glam Dolls Beauty Studios, send me a message. I told you the different ways you can reach me, so reach out to me and I'll let you know if I can help you, or if there's some resource I can point you towards. All right, so we're wrapping this up, everybody. I got a call coming up in about 8 minutes. I will be, just follow me on IG. When I'm going live, you'll know about it. Stay tuned. Question is, can you download the audio file? Thought you can only stream it. Well, downloads means people actually listening to it. Technically, you have to download it out of the internet in order to listen to it in the first place. To stream something, you have to download it. So it's just, that's semantics, but that's actually technically how it works. You have to download a file to listen to it. You watch a video on YouTube, you have to download it to watch it. has to download to your device in order to play on your device. That's how it works. Anyway, yeah, Spotify, the same thing. You have to download a song to listen to it, but the file is so small, it feels like it just happens automatically, but a download must occur. That's technically how it works. Anyway, that's it, everybody. Y'all have a good afternoon. Work on your game. We out of here.